Hey, Michael Seibling. I knew I could find you in the math room.
Yeah, man.
So you're pretty smart here, is that fair to say?
Absolutely. I'm a nerd.
Well, can you teach me how to do section 5.3?
Well, the first thing I do is...
Like a nerd.
Read my book!
Like a nerd.
Shut my book!
Like a nerd.
Pick the same problem!
Like a nerd.
Back to the expression!
Like a nerd.
Double check!
Like a nerd.
Triple check!
Like a nerd.
Now you got your answer!
Like a nerd.
Oh, that makes sense. With just one question. How do you solve a problem like 12x minus 60?
Well, first, you divide the problem into two different steps.
How do you do that?
Well, first
Write the 12 down.
Like a nerd.
Parentheses follow.
Like a nerd.
Distribute x.
Like a nerd.
Bring x in the parentheses.
Like a nerd.
Distribute 60.
Like a nerd.
Divide 60 by 12.
Like a nerd.
Get the number 5.
Like a nerd.
Bring 5 in the parentheses.
Like a nerd.
Get a negative sign.
Like a nerd.
In between x and 5.
Like a nerd.
So now you got 12x minus 5.
Like a nerd.
Well, if you didn't, you're probably wrong.
I finally understand. So what about this one? How do I factor a quadratic expression such as x squared plus 17x plus 52?
Well, the first thing I do is break the problem apart.
Like a nerd.
Introduce x in parentheses.
Like a nerd.
Distribute x squared.
Like a nerd.
While splitting x in equal signs in parentheses.
Like a nerd.
Now we find the factors.
Like a nerd.
Of 17
Like a nerd.
and 52.
Like a nerd.
There is only one
Like a nerd.
of 17.
Like a nerd.
It's 1 times 17.
Like a nerd.
But there is 3
Like a nerd.
of 52.
Like a nerd.
But which one
Like a nerd.
of the factors
Like a nerd.
of 52
Like a nerd.
adds up to the first number,
Like a nerd.
which happens to be 17?
Like a nerd.
Is it 1 times 52?
Like a nerd.
Probably not.
Like a nerd.
2 times 26?
Like a nerd.
Don't think so.
Like a
And 2
nerd.
times 4?
Like a nerd.
Could it be? Yes, it is.
Like a nerd.
So your next numbers
Like a nerd.
in your parentheses,
Like a nerd.
13 goes in one,
Like a nerd.
4 goes in the other.
Like a nerd.
Now since the numbers
Like a nerd.
in the original equation
Like a nerd.
are all positive,
Like a nerd.
place a plus sign
Like a nerd.
in between the numbers
Like a nerd.
of each set of parentheses.
Like a nerd.
Now you got
Like a nerd.
x plus 13 times x plus 4.
Like a nerd.
Now it's factored!
Now you're a nerd.
Oh yeah!
Uh-huh, so that's how you do it?
Yeah.
I never would have figured this out without your help.
No problem.
Well, this has been eye-opening for me.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, I know, you said it about 400 times.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm a nerd.
Okay, great. Bye.